Hey everyone, happy Saturday and welcome back to my channel. The topic of today's video is going to be tips and resources that are helpful for first-time UCLA students, specifically transfer students, because I myself am a transfer student at UCLA going into my senior year this year. And we will just start off by jumping right in. I want to say that this has been a really highly requested video, and the reason it took me so long to get around to it is because I had to compile a list of things that were actually useful. But I'm going to start off, and the first kind of area that I want to talk about is food-related tips and resources. Okay, so for my transfer students out there, you should be very familiar with the Transfer Student Center. If you're not, get familiar. There are a lot of great resources there. But one of the main things that you want to note about the Transfer Student Center is that there is free food and coffee almost every day of the week. Monday through Friday, that is. There is free coffee every day as long as you bring your own mug, and usually there is free food offered, like bagels, pizza, you know, just quick, easy things that you can grab of that nature. And the way that I find out what is available is honestly through Instagram. If you follow them on Instagram and you regularly check their story, you will see what free food they're offering that day. It's not every day, but it is most days, to be completely honest. Another great free food resource on a more practical scale, if you're someone who's kind of struggling to be able to pay for groceries, there is a food pantry available at Campbell Hall, which is where the Linguistics department is housed, so that's how I know about this. There is a food pantry. It's not expansive, it's not huge. This is something that's available not only at Campbell Hall, but also at the Student Activity Center, which is on Wilson Plaza, I think. They have not only a food pantry, but also like a hygiene product pantry. So if you need like toothbrushes, deodorant, floss, that sort of a thing, you can get that for free there as well. Moving on, another great thing that I discovered, unfortunately kind of late and I never really took advantage of, is the fact that Plate, otherwise known as Bruin Plate, does offer grab-and-go breakfast in the morning, I believe from 7 to 10. So they have like energy smoothies and stuff like that. They might have other things I can't remember off the top of my head, but that's great if you're just heading down from the hill and you need something really quick to grab. On the contrary, if you are up really late at night on the hill and you need food, one really solid go-to is late night. It is not the healthiest. It is pretty much a junk food, fast food, but it's pretty good. They have the famed chicken tenders. I prefer the vegan chicken tenders. They also have burgers, pizza, mac and cheese, mozzarella sticks, which are also really good. And that is open until 2 a.m. every day of the week. If you're someone who doesn't really eat as much as you thought that you would when you purchased your meal plan at the beginning of the year and you have leftover swipes, don't feel too defeated because you have two options. One, at the end of the quarter, the Study and Bruin Cafe offers an option to trade in, I believe, 8 swipes for a box of Cliff Bars. Cafe 1919 also does like 8 or 10 swipes for a box of macaroons. I think it's like 20 or 40 macaroons, and the Cliff Bars I think is like 12, so it's a pretty good deal. The other option that you have is to donate your swipes, which is what I do at the end of every quarter because I'm never going to eat Cliff Bars or macaroons, to be completely honest, and it's just good to know that I can donate my swipes to someone who needs them more than I do. Okay, a really big topic that I want to talk about is coffee. People ask me about coffee all the time, but I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. I don't drink coffee. The only time you will see me drinking coffee is if I am functioning off of like 2 or 3 hours of sleep. So at that point, I don't care about the taste or the flavor. I just care about the caffeine intake. So I'm not the best person to ask about coffee, but I've heard that on the hill, the best coffee comes from Decaf. I've heard that on campus, the coffee in those little coffee machine dispensers that are throughout campus, the only one that I can think of right now is the one that's outside Campbell Hall, but they're throughout campus. I've heard that the coffee there is not half bad, and I've also heard the hot chocolate isn't bad either, but I wouldn't know from personal experience, so take it with a grain of salt, please, and don't come back at me and say that the coffee was horrible, because I don't know. Okay, on the topic again of the Transfer Student Center, if you are a new transfer student and you are unsure about your experience and what you're getting yourself into, I would highly recommend joining the Transfer Mentor program. You will be placed in a cohort group with about 4 or 5 other new transfer students, as well as one senior transfer student who is your mentor and who will help you throughout the school year decide what you need to do academically and just personally and get involved in extracurriculars and that sort of thing, and it's a great way to make friends. Just a few more academic resources for you guys. One that I want to tell you about is the opportunity to get free textbook rentals for up to a year. Yes, you heard me correctly, through the interlibrary loan program. If you're interested in seeing a tutorial on how that works, click the suggested video right here. You can also check out textbooks at the UCLA student store and write and highlight in them, even workbooks, but that still is way more costly than getting them through the interlibrary loan program or renting them from your own library. Printing's another hot topic because once again, this is something that can be really expensive. If you don't have a printer yourself, which is quite expensive, ink is very expensive, there are the WEPA printer stations throughout campus, but once again, if you're printing like a 50-page paper, that can be pretty pricey. So there is free printing available at the College of Academic Counseling, as well as the Community Programs Office. Just had to look up what CPO stands for. So that's CPO and CAC. I don't know where either of those things are, to be completely honest, because I have a printer myself, so I just print personally from my own room. But if you need a map, please reference that on the UCLA website, and I'm sure you can find those. They do have free printing. If you're looking for a quick way to make cash, one thing that you can do is become a note taker for your class. Now, keep in mind that not every class needs a note taker. This is only something that pops up when someone specifically requests a note taker. So if you have someone who maybe doesn't have use of their hands, or they just can't pay attention or focus or something like that in class because of a disability or something, they will request a note taker, and usually you can find out. Usually you get an email like within the first 2 or 3 weeks of class saying like, hey, there's a note taker requested for this class. Do you want to be the note taker for this class? This is sent out to the whole class, so you are competing against everyone else in that class. But otherwise, if you're interested, just take a look on your My UCLA website, and you can go through there, I think under the academics or classes feature of that website, and you can find out who needs a note taker. So this is about $100 at the end of quarter once you've completed notes for every single class. So you do need to show up to every single class. Although if you do skip for like a medical reason or there's a family emergency, they're understanding of that. You just need to submit a note saying like, hey, I wasn't able to make it to class that day. And usually they want you to find notes from someone else in the class and upload them to the portal online. It's all done by typed notes that you upload as a PDF or a docx, or you can take a picture or scan your notes. I was a note taker last quarter. It's pretty simple. You just need to upload them within 24 hours. Okay, another one that I've talked about in other videos is ResFlix. That name is up in the air. I think there was like a lawsuit going on with like Netflix and UCLA because that name was like really close to Netflix. But anyway, what this is movies.ucla.edu. This is a free way for students to watch movies, usually pretty new movies. I don't know if it still exists because the last few times that I've tried to go on it, it doesn't really work. This is available to students on the Hill. I believe once you have lived on the Hill, you have access to it indefinitely. Don't quote me on that. I've heard that. I haven't actually tried to use it myself since moving off the Hill. But if you have never lived on the Hill, unfortunately, you won't get access to this. But if you're someone who likes to shop and you like a UCLA t-shirt or a UCLA mug or a notebook here and there, don't go breaking the bank at the student store because one, there is a sale every time UCLA scores a touchdown on a football game. I believe home games only. There is a discount offered to students the following Monday at the student store, and usually it's like up to 25% off, and it's a pretty good deal. So definitely save up and wait until that offer comes around. And once again, you probably will know this. I think they sent out emails, but also if you follow UCLA Student Store or the Student Union on Instagram, you can find out when that deal is offered. Every fall quarter during Zero Week, the UCLA Student Store hosts a sale after hours, so I believe like from 7 p.m. until 10 or 11 p.m., where everything in the store is 20% off. So once again, if there is something that you have been eyeing, make sure you're waiting until you get the chance to go to that sale. It's during Zero Week. Also during Zero Week, transfer students can trade in any old t-shirt for a new UCLA t-shirt. Usually this is outside the gym on campus. I don't know the name of the gym off the top of my head, but it's the one that's actually on campus. On a fun note, there is free 3D printing available at Powell Library, and I believe there is also free 3D printing available on the Hill in Reber Hall So definitely check that out if that's something you're interested in. And lastly, the last tip that I want to share with you guys is the Undergraduate Writing Center. So I have always been a really strong writer, but coming from community college, it was a lot more kind of daunting when I had to write my first essay at UCLA. So I find myself going to the Undergraduate Writing Center at least once a quarter just to check in and make sure that my writing is up to par and everything looks good, and they're really helpful. They offer like 30-minute sit-down sessions where they will personally look at your essay and see how everything looks and see if it's up to the standard of a UCLA professor's grading. Alright everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and please consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. I post new UC, UCLA, and transfer videos every Saturday at 3 p.m. and I will see you next Saturday at 3 p.m. Bye!